Masami Hirosaka prototype RC10 out front, followed by Velo in the same car running in second.
In the RC10 lineage, nothing quite captured everyone's imagination quite like Masami Hirosaka's fabled Stealth Car.
Meanwhile, Masami is gone. He says practice is over. It's time to win.
There were two different iterations of the RC10 that were designed specifically for the IFMAR World Championships in 1989 and 1991, but they never went to production and people couldn't get them. Well, recently we released the 89 Masami Stealth Car to huge fanfare. It was an accurate representation of Masami's car. Masami was heavily involved, and it was a big hit. Well, how do we follow that up? Well, it's a logical step. Presenting the RC10 1991 Stealth Car Masami Kit.
And the world champion in two-wheel drive, Masami Hirosaka!
At the World Championship race, I qualified first, but Mr. Kyle Reed from a rival team came in second place. My teammate Mr. Vic Vero also joined the A final battle for the top spot. Different drivers had top finish in each of the three final rounds, making it a close race until the very end. Fortunately, the Stealth Car had slightly advantage, and we were able to win.
Now, of course, Masami's driving skills and championship pedigree are unrivaled, but it takes a team to win a world championship. And in 1991, for the race in Detroit, Masami, along with engineers and drivers like Cliff Lett, spent countless hours refining this platform specifically for that track in Detroit.
I think in a previous video I mentioned that the Stealth Cars were my most favorite projects in working at Associate for many years. And that's absolutely true. The first Stealth Car, which was the car we built specifically for the track in Australia and did really well at the race, obviously. That was the first step in that direction where we really deviated from the original RC10 design. But the second Stealth Car was really kind of a leap in a huge direction of a different platform. Yeah, the rear of the car was very similar to Australia with very few changes. But the front end was designed around a different strategy that included a much different track. That was the closest thing to a motocross track I ever drove on. The track had loamy dirt. It had uphills and downhills. The uphills were really abusive on your batteries and your duration. It was a pretty bumpy track. It had a big long section of whoop-de-doos they called it the Surf's Up section.
And he will head up Mount Sanyo, down the staircase, through the Surf's Up section, and a whole lot of racing going on out there.
And it really required unique lines, very patient and restrained driving style to get through it consistently, and some pretty creative lines. Back then, I mean, we're talking 34 years ago, or around 34 years ago, and batteries were a really big deal then. So we immediately realized from a practice session we did at the track well before the Worlds that batteries and power were really going to be a big player in this World Championship.
The development concept for this car was to conserve battery power until the end without putting strain on the chassis. To achieve this, the front end was significantly modified.
So our strategy for the 91 Worlds became a game of trying to improve efficiency. And since we're limited on the batteries and we were using brushed motors at the time, we had to do this with the chassis, or at least attempt to do it. Even if it meant sacrificing some other aspect of the way the car handles. We already had a car from the 89 Worlds in Australia where the rear end of the car worked very well, and we thought that using that same rear end along with some changes to the front end were a way of making the car more efficient. We came up with a way of designing the front end where it provided more attack angle so that the front end wasn't digging in into the bumps, and especially these whoop-de-doos that we found on the Detroit track. So we designed a front end where the front arms swept forward, but to do that, because you're sweeping the arms forward on a 30-degree angle, you have to lower the axle. And when you lower the axle, it's also perpendicular with the arms, so you're making the wheelbase longer. So then we had to shorten the wheelbase. But to lower the axle enough to do this, we had to bring the axle down below the outer front arm hinge pin, which created some kind of not ideal geometry in the front end. It provided a very stiff action and roll of the front of the car. But we felt, because the track was loamy, some of the corners had berms to bounce off of or right around. It was uphills and downhills, and you had this long section of whoop-de-doos to get through. We felt it was a reasonable trade-off in order to pick up efficiency in the car and more power.
This minimized strain on the batteries and helped it adapt to uneven road surfaces.
For the 1991 World Championships, we had a pretty big team going to this race, and we needed to build about 15 to 20 cars to take care of all of our top team going to the race. To do that, we couldn't machine all the parts. It'd take forever. We were in kind of a time crunch to get the parts done on time for the race. So we had our mold maker make molds for it, making the molds for the arms and the caster blocks and the arm mounts, bulkhead, and all that stuff. So between the tool maker, me making parts, specialty pins and turnbuckles and that kind of stuff, we were able to put together about 15 cars for our top guys for the World Championships.
Velo, Moore, and Reed all went 25. Reed with the advantage of the 25-15. Quickest car out on the track. Coming up on the 4-minute mark, 1 minute to go. 1 minute to go in this IFMAR final.
So after the 91 Worlds, we did really well. Masami won, and Rick Velo finished second. And we learned a great deal about that event and about that track and how to make the car work on a surface like that. We came home, and the next question was, okay, now what are we going to make? We have these 2 stealth cars, over the span of a few years here that we developed, and what do we make? And so we went down the road of kind of compiling the pros and cons to each platform. Both cars being built for a specific track condition. Maybe Australia being a little more conventional, and the Detroit track being a little more extreme with, crazy sized bumps and loamy dirt and so forth. But I think in reality, we took both cars and just really gathered up what the best aspects were of either of these cars and went down that road to decide, okay, we're going to use these things we learned on these 2 cars for 2 radically different tracks and 2 radically different design cars, and figure out the next generation of buggy. And we came up with, the next generation, which was the B2, B3, B4, and so on, that these cars greatly influenced.
Masami the 1 car, Velo the 3 car, Moore the 7 car, Kyle Reed in the 2 car. Reed at the back of the group running second and third now. Kyle looking for an opening and tangles and ends up on his lid, and the marshal gets him down.
After finishing first place in the final round, I thought the game was over and no longer needed to steer. So I crossed the finishing line at full throttle without any steering input. So I crashed into the wall with such force that the upper deck broke. I was overjoyed when I crashed after race.
Pick up the cars, waiting for Jürgen Lautenbach to finish.
So for those who have spent the past 35 plus years yearning and wondering what it would be like to have a stealth car, now's your opportunity.
The 1991 Stealth Car seems to be the one that everybody wants. you hear talk about the Stealth Car, and you need to make a Stealth Car. And we came out with the 1989 car, and to me, that was my favorite car. But everyone's like, well, why didn't you do the 91 car? Where's the 91 car? And apparently, that's the one that everybody wanted. So this was the opportunity for us to make the 91 car, and here it is.
This car is my only victory in the two-wheel drive class on American soil, and it is a very precious and valuable car kit. I'm super happy that it is for sale 34 years later from the World Championship. I'm very happy that these parts have been produced exactly as they are. And this car especially has undercover. This is good for that surface.
You can pick up the Team Associated RC10 1991 Stealth Car at rc10.com through popular retailers, along with all the factory team and Team Associated hop-up and replacement parts.
RC10 1991 IFMAR Masami Hirosaka Edition.
And if you're looking for something cool to show off your Team Associated spirit, look no further than the Team Associated display light. It's the perfect thing to complement your desk or workbench to give everything in your life that awesome box art look.